Es spricht Eric T. Vogel aus New York und der Anlass meiner heutigen Sendung ist eine Schallplattenfirma, welche sich ausschließlich mit der Erzeugung von Jazzplatten befasst. Was Sie, meine Damen und Herren, besonders interessieren wird, ist der Umstand, dass diese Firma von zwei aus Deutschland eingewanderten Jazzfanatikern gegründet wurde. Mr. Alfred Lyon und Mr. Francis Wolff.
I don't like to think about him as not being here because to me, Alfred and Francis, they will always be here. So I hate to think about him, then you think, oh, well, gee, they're not here. Well, they are here. He's here, Francis Wolff is here with his camera and looking at this. Francis, they're here, they'll always be here.
They're still here in the records. You know, when I've listened to Blue Note records, I feel the totality of what went into making those records, because I know about that because I experienced it myself. So I feel them in Blue Note records. So I don't have to miss them because they are still here and living in the music.
They're still the best recorded physical music on the planet. And I think we all understood that these two white guys, they had faith in our ability to make some music and to look great while doing it. And I'm not sure at that point the industry was prepared to accept all these African-American guys as great players, except Frankenhauer.
They were German. They came from another country. And they brought something to America that America needed. The artists certainly needed it. We needed them. And they needed us so that they could give to us this wonderful gift.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have something special down here at Birdland this evening. A recording for Blue Note Records. How about a big hand now? Thank y'all.
With their mission, because from looking at them from the outside, we could say they were on a mission.
They loved the music so much themselves that they just wanted to preserve it, that they said one day, and look where it's come to, look where it's gotten to.
And Danny Banks, and there's George Wellington, okay, yeah. Yeah, I worked for him, I did a lot of albums over there. Clifford's album over there, all the original songs, George Wellington, you know. Yeah, it's amazing. Al Lyons is great, man, and Frankie's one of the greatest photographers from Germany, you know, and passionate about what he's involved in. They were fantastic. We watched the genesis and the evolution of America's most powerful music. When they know what they're doing, they got their chops together, and it's taken over the world.
Blue Note is possibly the record company that changed the face of the music. And it changed the face of the music completely.
Look at the hat.
What do we have here?
Mighty goes the thing.
What do we have here?
Grandpa.
Brother Crenshaw.
What's happening, Grandpa?
What do you here tonight?
They're talking to right there. I'm on the game with the younger players.
He's still there. He won't budge.
I am proud to be a member of the Blue Note family. Some of the greatest musicians of that era recorded for Blue Note. And I don't think another company can say that. Some other companies picked them up later, but back then Blue Note was a place to go if you wanted to play with some freedom.
Blue Note is it's like home base. It's the core of where I began my career. And it seems that everybody went through Blue Note. Some recording artists only had a few records, but I mean, if you look at the names, I mean, Miles Davis has had things, Thelonious Monk. I mean, you name them, they have something that's been on Blue Note.
Hello there, this is Freddie Hubbard, Trumpet Man, Blue Note, Alfred Lyons and Frank Ruff. I'm in.
They knew how difficult it was to play that sort of music. And they also knew that from an economic perspective, it was even more difficult. So what they did, I mean, it took me years to understand how they came from a different world altogether. I mean, to leave Nazi Germany and to come to the United States and start a record company with jazz music.
You know, I was a young boy, and I used to go in a place called the Admiralspalast, I think it was. And I saw a poster on the wall, and it said Sam Booding and his chocolate dandies. And I didn't know anything about it, but it looked strange to me, different, you know. And I went in, and there was Sam Booding. First time I saw colored musicians, you know, and heard some music, and I was flabbergasted. I couldn't, you know, it was something brand new, and but it registered with me right away, you know. Hot, you know, hot musicians, you know. I couldn't really put my fingers on it, but it was a beat, you know, it was a beat. That beat, you know, I got into my bones, you know.
understanding, Alfred and Frances came from very different neighborhoods in Berlin. And that's where they saw Sam Wooding, and that's where they found out they were both journeyman jazz collectors and that they had an obsession for this music, and they became very fast best friends.
Was habt ihr hier zu suchen? Jetzt aber raus hier, Jungs!
I wanna go where you go, do what you do, go when you long, and I'll be happy. I will cry when you cry, cry when you cry, smile when you smile, and I'll be happy. If you go north, south, if you go east or west, I'll find you round the corner. You're your little old man. I wanna go where you go, do what you do, go when you long, and I'll be happy.
My grandparents were thoroughly, from first to last, like so many other German Jews, they were Germans. And my father said again and again, suddenly we found ourselves to be Jewish. I never went to the synagogue from one blue moon to the next. And Francis never went to the synagogue from one blue moon to the next either. And his parents were very rarely in the synagogue, unless there was some notable occasion which brought the Jews together in a certain way for a certain reason. But they were first and foremost Berliners.
You know, German Jews, especially in the north, felt more German than Jewish, and when they didn't think that this would ever be a situation.
Glaub mir, es wird nicht besser. Warte nicht zu lange.
Alfred got out of Germany well before Frank did. Frank waited a long time, and I think Alfred urged him, to get out as soon as possible.
And once Alfred left, he was so obsessed by the jazz he heard that his drive to get to the authentic source, to get to the Nile of jazz, was uncontainable. He had to do it against all odds.
Disappeared because he was smart and he knew there was trouble abroad, and so he left. He came to this country, he barely spoke English, he was alone and he was self-sufficient and he struggled, but he was terrific.
Little by little, he got opportunities to get menial jobs. And he slept in Central Park on benches with no money at all, no prospects to earn money, just to be close to the music.
I wonder if it came as a shock to Alfred when he came over here. I mean, it was the Europeans, of course, who had started to celebrate jazz as a great art and written books and had the clubs and all this kind of stuff. And I imagine that someone coming from there might have assumed that when you got over to the States, there was a statue about Louis Armstrong. And Sidney Bechet would be a big star playing in the big theaters. And I think it must have been kind of a rude awakening.
Jazz to me is the stepchild of American music, even though this is where it was originated. And where did it come from? It came from the blues. It came from the Afro-Americans. This is their music. And I think that's what Alfred and Frances heard. They heard the plight of the black musician and the music of jazz. They heard that. 'Cause they know what it was like.
Hallo liebe Jazzfreunde, hier spricht Eric T. Vogel aus New York und der Anlass meiner heutigen Sendung ist das 25-jährige Jubiläum einer Schallplattenfirma, welche sich ausschließlich mit der Erzeugung von Jazzplatten befasst. Ich habe hier in meinem Studio die beiden Inhaber der Firma, Mr. Alfred Lyon und Mr. Francis Wolf. Good evening, Mr. Lyon.
Good evening, Mr. Vogel.
Good